in the Garden of Patagonia. The scenery is stunning and track always a pleasure for the riders and the fans that flock to the circuit. Jago Hitz has taken possession of the red plate in MX2 and has the advantage of having ridden here before. But Simon Langenfelder and the Teen Wolf are hot on his heels. Tom Vial will also hope to bounce back in style at the scene of his MX2 debut 3 years ago. The scene is set. This is the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina.
Hello everybody and welcome to the third round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. This is the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. We are at the wonderful picturesque circuit of Neuquén, just outside the wonderful alpine town of Villa Langostura in the Nahuel Huapi National Park. And as you can see, we're surrounded by wonderful lakes, forests and mountains. We're just a stone's throw away from the Chilean border as well, right over on the west side of the country. And as we arrive here for this third round, none of the riders that are currently lining up today have finished in the top 5 at this Argentine round. And in fact, only 4 riders have been here before: Tom Vial, Jago Hitz, Conrad Muse and Stefan Rubini. And the last time we were here was back in March 2019, March the 3rd to be exact. So just over 3 years ago if you're counting it in days. But the circuit there, as you can see, volcanic in its nature, a little bit stony and loose and sandy. There's a bit of a crust underneath, but we've had about 3 weeks of rain leading into this race here this weekend. But it hasn't done anything to ruin the track or anything else. It will take a lot to do that, of course. But just 1,670 metres long, this racetrack here. And it's undulating. You get through that first turn, and then on that back section, you're over 3 huge floating tabletops. We've got a full house here as well. And let's take you on a lap around this circuit here at Villa Langostura, and Ruben Fernandez will take us for a lap today. The 114 Motorsports rider then, Ruben Fernandez, takes us for a look around this racetrack. 85 metres to turn 1, over the Vauxhall shot line immediately, followed by 2 giant rollers, different heights on the left and the right side, through this long sweeping right turn. And this is where things start to get interesting. Over this first floating crest, the wheels barely get off the ground. Then we hit the liquid molly jump, a big tabletop, and then this one here right at the end of the straight. And as we head through this right-hand turn here, the circuit allows you to get on the gas, but you've got a rhythm section here. You've got to be careful not to drift too far wide through there. The infamous rhythm section. If you can double, and double through this part of the racetrack, then you'll hit this tabletop perfectly. But Ruben Fernandez enjoying the atmosphere and the crowd here on this sighting lap yesterday. It's busy yesterday, it's even more packed today. Continuing on then through this turn, a little double here on the exit through this sweeping left-hander. Slight crest and then over the city jump, heading up into the trees for the first time. That's turn 10. Drop back down again, another floating jump through this gravity cavity over the bitchy tabletop jump, possibly the biggest track on the racetrack, jump on the racetrack. And then as we go right, riders can double from the right-hand side to here and then double in again on the inside, or you can transfer, triple. Either way, there are a choice of lines through there. Hitting the Monster Energy tabletop here, and then a little rhythm section. This one is a triple into this left-hand turn. That's turn 13 and 14 underneath the FC Moto drop. 180, this is the penultimate corner. Behind the pits there, as you can see, all in white. The run towards the finish line is here, out of the final turn. We hit the Monster Energy finish line here. And as we land, we're back down the start straight, past pit lane into turn 1. That's a lap of the track here for the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. Well, as you can see, the MX2 riders out on their sighting lap for their first viewing of the racetrack ahead of MX2 Race 1. A few moments ago, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid. She caught up with our podium man from last time out, Andrea Adamo. But before that, Kevin Benavides, the former Dakar Rally winner.
Hello everyone, we're almost ready for the first gate drop on Sunday here, but before we do, let's catch up with a couple of guys. Now we do have a special guest with us, it's Kevin Benavides. It's so nice to have you here, Kevin. Firstly, just tell us about you. How's your year been so far?
Hi everybody, for me it's a pleasure to be here in my country, Villa Langostura, this beautiful place. So I am so happy to be also with KTM and Red Bull. So it's my first time here, so I really enjoy this moment, and thank you for this opportunity to be on the grid on the first.
Well, we've waited 3 years to come back here to Patagonia, Argentina, and I tell you what, it does not disappoint. How's your experience been of Argentina and Patagonia so far with the fans? The Argentinian fans are amazing.
I think the fans from Argentina are really, really amazing. I remember from Dakar, when we did Dakar in South America, we really missed that in Saudi Arabia. So I know the public here is the best, so for sure the race will be really great, and everyone will be enjoy a lot the beauty, the atmosphere, and I think this place is so beautiful. I am from Salta, the north of Argentina, so it's very far from here, but this place is amazing. I really like it.
Kevin, it's fantastic to have you here. I think you have a couple of words for your Spanish fans, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Quiero decir que, bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos los fans de Argentina. Gracias por estar aquí, por venir, disfrutar de este evento, de apoyar el deporte. Creo que es un evento increíble y espero que disfruten de esta competencia todos.
Perfect. Have a good day, Kevin. Thank you
so much.
Now, the next rider I'd like to speak to is SM Action's Andrea Adamo. Andrea, we saw you yesterday in the qualifying session take quite a hard hit. Are you okay? And just what happened from your seat?
Yes, I don't have the best start yesterday at the quali race, but I was come back quite strong. I was already 6th. I fight for the 5th position, and one rider do one mistake, take my front wheel, and I go down hard with the head. And when I was down in the ground, I was a little bit off with the head, but now I feel a little bit better, still a little bit painful, but we give the best and we try to come back strong.
Well, obviously at the back of the pack, not the best gate pick. How easy is this track here to pass?
Yes, it's quite easy to pass. It's really a lot of lines and it's big, the track, so I'm quite confident and I want to start for try to go in front.
Well, best of luck, thanks. Okay, good luck to all the guys. You can hear the fans, the atmosphere's building. It's time for MX2 Race 1.
Absolutely, you're right, Lisa, and the atmosphere is building. It's been absolutely electric since we got here. Even yesterday and this morning, driving into the racetrack, we were in traffic jams 5 or 6 kilometres outside of the racetrack, and obviously when you see the police escorts coming by in the outside lane, which is oncoming traffic normally, we were basically you know what, hand out our pass here to the cops, follow them, join the line. So we were personally chauffeured in, shall we say, with an 8 police escort both days. Anyway, let's take a look at the championship standings as we arrive at this third round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. Jago Geerts arrives with the championship leader's red plate after going 1-1 last time out, round 2 at Lombardia. He has a 4-point advantage over the previous red plate holder, Simon Langenfelder, with Kai de Wolf 12 points further back. Then we've got Tom Bial, Andrea Adamo shifting himself up from 10th to 5th after getting on the podium last time out. Roman Mostijk 6, Horgmo 7, Harp 8, Gifting and Rubini, and the rest of the guys as you see there. We'll talk more about Roman Mostijk in a moment, but here's what happened in the MX2 qualifying race yesterday. The MX2 qualifying race here on Saturday then, that 85-metre long start straight, freshly ripped, caused 1 or 2 problems. Jago Geerts thought he grabbed the advantage on the inside, but around the outside of him was Tom Bial, and to his left, I think it was Kai de Wolf at that moment in time. Another good starter was the 22 of Gianluca Facchetti as Jago Geerts nudged alongside Bial on the opening lap before he even reached the 4th turn. A rider that was on form, though, was Kevin Horgmo in 4th position at this point here. He found his way into 3rd with that pass just in the turn, and then he moved into 2nd past Tom Bial, but he lost all that momentum on the opening lap. That was Horgmo picking himself up from second position. Jargo Kietz led the way though, closely followed by Tom Vial. Rowan van der Moosdijk was just there in around about sixth position. One of the big moments though, Adamo went down hard as he caught the rear wheel. Here we have it on the GoPro footage. Back end comes back this way, takes the front wheel away from the SM Action rider. Adamo was down on the deck, and then Facchetti eventually started fading through the pack. He eventually came home in 10th place as a bunch of riders came past him. Mikkel Harup here, closest to us, had a fantastic race as he carved his way to 4th. But all eyes at the front, and then from 4th place, Rowan van der Moosdijk, the Nissan factory Husqvarna rider, picked himself up. That is a broken collarbone. He also has a left wrist injury, which they need further diagnosis on. He will not line up for the races today. Jargo Kietz won the qualifying race for the second time this year, his 11th career pole. A wonderful overview shot then of the location where we are at here at Villa Langostura. The town about a 10-kilometre drive, 15-kilometre drive from here for this third round, the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina. We are in the Garden of Patagonia, and we are surrounded by absolute tranquility and beauty, apart from race day, of course. Let's take a look at how the riders line up for this race then, shall we? And race 2 a little later on. Jargo Kietz on pole for the second time this year. Tom Vial will go to the line second ahead of Kaido Wolf, Mikkel Harup, Simon Langenfelder, Mattia Guadagnini and Isaac Gifting. Stefan Rubini, Jeremy Sido with a 9th place finish for him for Diga Procross KTM, and then Gianluca Facchetti on the KTM Bedini machine. Conrad Muse in 11th place for Stebbings Cars Superstore KTM UK, powered by Bike Shore. He will go to the line at 11th, ahead of Kevin Horgmo on the FNH Kawasaki. And then we've got Hakan Fredriksson on the Honda 114 machine. Our first look then at Jargo Kietz, monster in his Yamaha factory MX2, as he lines up, I would assume, on the first available gate on the left-hand side. Tom Vial, well, he's been in the wars the last couple of weeks, hasn't he? He had that big crash at Mantova a couple of weeks ago. He had another one last week at the French National Championship, another one here in the time training session just before the wave section, when well, you've probably seen it now on MX Vice, and the Spice Boys doing a great job of capturing the back end of that, where he had to step off mid-air before the bike came crashing down. He is okay though. So too is Kaido Wolf, but his teammate will not line up. Rowan van der Moosdijk did not start, of course, a broken collarbone and a left wrist injury. The collarbone is the right shoulder, by the way, not the left, so opposite ends for him. But fans all around this racetrack, that's the best vantage point through the trees there, but they are littered all around this Neuquén circuit. 5:16, Simon Langenfelder. Well, he was victorious at the opening round, wasn't he, in fantastic style, Natalie Basin. Had to settle for 4th overall in Lombardia, though. He'll be looking to make amends. Isaac Gifting had a fantastic British Championship race a week ago. He'll be looking to carry that momentum as well as he goes in pursuit of his first podium in MX2. And Guadagnini also needs a good start and a good Grand Prix. Haven't seen him up at the sharp end in a while, but Guadagnini, the Italian, his last podium coming in France last year, where he was 2nd overall at La Capelle Marival. He is overdue a podium. We have a green flag. We're getting ready to go racing here. The Fly Racing 15-second board goes up. All eyes on the Fox Holeshot line. Tom Vial and Simon Langenfelder, the only 2 riders that have crossed the Fox Holeshot line ahead of everybody else. We're getting ready to go racing then. Who is it going to be that grabs that all-important Fox Holeshot? All eyes on that first turn. And it looks like Jargo Kietz, and this time he drifts wide, and it may be he or Vial with the Fox Holeshot. And it's Vial who emerges in turn 2 ahead of everybody else, just like he did in the qualifying race. Kaido Wolf right behind him in 3rd. You can see how the circuit already chopped up from yesterday. Vial leads the way then. Kietz 2nd, De Wolf 3rd. Langenfelder tucked behind them in 4th place. Then we have Gifting, Facchetti, Harp and Guadagnini as we emerge into the wave section here. Fans on their feet as the riders go through at the first time of asking. The atmosphere electric here in Argentina. Vial doing what he couldn't do yesterday. He took the lead through the first couple of corners, but by the time he got to turn 4, he'd already been pushed back to 2nd position. So in his mind, if he can get through this first lap clear, then hopefully he'll be looking to make a run for it. Vial has yet to win a race this year. Tripling in from left to right, Tom Vial. The furthest corner away from the start line area into this final rhythm section here, going to the inside. De Wolf going to the outside, tripling in. A lot of water going down on this racetrack, as you can see, because the volcanic nature of the ground will certainly take it. Just needs to keep it soft as well, you see, because obviously it's a hard crust underneath. But over the line for the first time, it's Vial who leads. Hit by about 1.3 seconds as they go past pit lane into turn 1. De Wolf right there in 3rd. Langenfelder still hanging on in 4th place. There is the 516, and just behind him, Isaac Gifting, Gianluca Facchetti actually, for Bedini KTM. So the young Italian, number 22, obviously feeling at home on this racetrack, just like he did on Saturday during the qualifying race. This was where Vial crashed yesterday. The landing where Jago Geerts was a little bit out of shape. That's where he was doubling into the corner, but not doing it today, keeping it nice and clean. Under attack though. Geerts from De Wolf. This is for 2nd place. And De Wolf cuts to the inside. Just can't get on the gas early enough though. Horgmo in the background, almost off the bike. So Horgmo down in around 12th place at the moment. Over the Bitchy tabletop from this angle, looks like they're getting next to no height at all, but really is a spectacular part of the racetrack. Geerts going to have to go defensive. De Wolf pushing on though. Look how the front and back end are working through that right-hand turn. It's edgy underneath the wheels. He goes triple round the outside. Can he get the momentum here though? Geerts cuts to the inside, closes the door. This is playing perfectly into the hands of Tom Vial. The gap was 1.3 at the end of the opening lap. What will it be this time around? Fastest lap for Vial, a 45.2, 1:45.298 compared to a 46.07 and a 45.9 from Geerts and De Wolf, 2.1 seconds. So we've lost Andrea Adamo. Here's why. Just loses a front through the 2nd turn. So the SM Action rider not having a good Argentine Grand Prix here. Vial losing a couple of tenths through the first sector. Finish line to the middle jump. Down the back straight after turn 2. And it looks at the moment from the bottom right of your screen that Geerts has just broken, broken free from Kai De Wolf. "25 minutes to go." Here's Jago Geerts, and Jago Geerts confirmed as the Fox Holshot winner in this first MX2 race. His first of the season then. Looking a little bit further back, there is Mikkel Harp. Mikkel Harp in 6th place for Big Van World. MTX Kawasaki had a fantastic qualifying race yesterday, carved his way through the field to an eventual 4th place, giving him a great gate pick. And Harp in 5th place, 1:46.3, only 6.3 seconds off the lead is the Dane. Just behind him is Isaac Gifting, and then we've got Conrad Muse. So Gifting on the Hitachi KTM, fueled by Milwaukee. This has been a great response so for Tom Vial at the moment. He leads the way. It was 1.6, but he's obviously had a good few corners since the finish line, because he seems, from that viewpoint at least, to be stretching the advantage back over Jago Kietz. In fact, he's gone 0.4 quicker at Sector 1. Isaac Gifting looking like he may be closing in ever so slightly. A couple of tenths on the lap that time around for him, but just loses a little bit in the first sector. So Isaac Gifting here, Simon Langenfelder here is latching on to the rear wheel of the number 74 of Kai de Wolf. There you see the transfer from left to right into that top right corner, turn 10. Or turn 12, actually. Coming back into land. Right, there's Kietz. Yeah, I was going to say, Jago Kietz looking visibly like it's closed again, and he's just gone fastest at Sector 3 by about a half a second. So, different parts of the racetrack, these two toying around with each other like a little game of chess. So from here, the finish line, to the end of Sector 1, and another fastest lap for Vial, immediately eclipsed by a tenth of a second by Jago Kietz. The gap now down to 1.5 seconds as they are starting to pull clear from Kai de Wolf, who's now about 3 seconds further back. Sector 1 on the racetrack, for those who are interested, from the finish line to the second jump here, around about there, that's where the first sector ends, just between the landing and the takeoff of the third jump at the end of that straight. So again, about another 10th pull back, but Horgmo now up in a 7th place. He's found his way past Conrad Muse, so Muse being shuffled backwards. Here's Harrop in white. He's still there in 5th. He's a couple of seconds adrift of Langenfelder at the end of the waves, who's on the face of the jump now. Gee, that's not a couple of seconds now, is it? He would love to get back on the podium, wouldn't he? Mikkel Harrop. Kevin Horgmo, who just found his way past Conrad Muse a moment ago, is now the fastest rider in Sector 2 at 23.4 as he goes after Isaac Gifting. So just behind Harrop and Gifting. Top of the screen now, coming towards us in green. Behind this rider here, Gifting, you've got the hard-charging Kevin Horgmo in 7th place. So Gifting here for Hitachi KTM as Harrop goes down. Harrop has lost the front or the back on the jump in the background where the wave yellows are, so Harrop out of 5th place. So that will put Gifting into 5th, Horgmo 6th, Muse 7th, and possibly Facchetti in 8th. Horgmo, this is a good lap for him. Is it going to be the fastest lap of the race, though? Not the fastest, but his fastest lap at 45.3 as he homes in on Gifting. But it's Jago Kietz who continues to close in on Tom Vial. Another fastest lap for the Belgian at 44.5, 3 tenths quicker than the Frenchman. And you can see the gap coming down. Look at Langenfelder in the background, closing in on de Wolf here. Different options over the Dragon's back into the turn here. Fans on their feet. Langenfelder on the Red Bull Gas. Second rider in shot, 4th in the race. Closing down on 3rd place, Kai de Wolf. These two banged bars, didn't they? On the final lap with about 3-4 corners to go in Lombardia. Are they going to be banging bars again before the end of the race? As he goes over the bars! Oh, they both go down! Oh, and de Wolf! Where's the wave yellows? De Wolf is laying in the track. He has gone down hard. And Langenfelder fell before him. Both those guys out of 3rd and 4th. So 2 riders down. Hopefully, De Wolf is okay. He was trying to move his arm, so I just wonder whether he's banged his head on the ground and just stunned himself a little bit, but a disastrous start, well, a disastrous Grand Prix here, Patagonia, Argentina for the Nestan Husqvarna factory squad, losing Roman and Mostike in qualifying and not lining up today with a broken collarbone and a possible wrist injury. And now De Wolf out of 3rd place. Meanwhile, these two still about a second apart. Vial and Geertz gifting now 12 seconds further back in 3rd. Horgmo 4th, Muse 5th, Facchetti in 6th. Guadagnini 7, Harp 8, Rubini 9, Sido 10. And then Fredriksson, Adamo, Langenfelder in 13th place. And here is Horgmo. He is all over the back of Isaac Gifting. This is for 3rd place now. The Norwegian chasing the Swede. So looks like De Wolf has been cleared from the track, whether that was by his own accord or other measures. Bert carving down the inside. Horgmo taking no prisoners. He's still got some work to do here though. He does make the pat stick. He goes into 3rd place. Gifting coming back for more though. He looks to go around the outside and he will regain that 3rd place at the end of the next straight possibly. Not quite able to get the wheels down early enough. Horgmo hanging on for now at the end of this 7th lap. Uh, 17 minutes plus 2 to go. And Tom Vial leading from the very first lap. The Red Bull KTM rider just over a second clear of Jago Geertz. And we're now being told that it was Tom Vial who grabbed the first foxhole shot of the weekend. Then that puts him on 3 for the campaign so far. So it must have been a tight call between the KTM and the Yamaha. But 16.5 minutes plus 2 to go. Vial, Geertz, Horgmo, Gifting, and Muse, your top 5. So Vial working his way towards the end of lap 8. Looks like he's had a good couple of sectors here. So 2 tenths quicker in sector 1, another 2 or 3 in sector 2, another 2 or 3 tenths in sector 3. All of a sudden that 1.3 second advantage possibly might just go above 2 seconds, who knows. Here's Horgmo, he's in 3rd, Gifting 4th, and then look in the background there in 5th place. Conrad Muse and Gianluca Facchetti. Here is Muse. So the Stebbins Car Superstore KTM rider powered by Bike Shore, and Gianluca Facchetti, the 22 on the Bedini KTM. They have Guadagnini behind them as well on the Red Bull Gas, but it's Muse leading the charge at the moment in 5th place. He could do with a good result, couldn't he? Conrad Muse hasn't finished inside the top 10 so far this year. He's got the perfect opportunity in which to do so in this first race. But look at the attempt of Guadagnini in 7th place. Harp just behind him. Guadagnini closing in on Facchetti. That's those 2 riders in the waves now. The Kawasaki of Harp has got himself back on terms as well. He was in 5th. He fell back probably to 9th or 10th actually, but obviously gaining a couple of positions at the expense of De Wolf and Langenfelder. Obviously feeling good on the track, number 11, Mikkel Harp on that green Kawasaki. Guadagnini putting his fastest lap in last time around, a 46.06. Langenfelder 53.6. So did he fall again that time around, or is he just feeling a little bit beaten up after his crash, where the back end came around on him once, twice, and then over the bars on a downhill section as well. So that did not end well for him. Even less so for Kai de Wolf. Paquetti, 22. Good to see the former FIM Junior 125 world champion mixing it in the round of the top 5-6 positions here, Patagonia, Argentina. In fact, all three of these riders, Muse, Paquetti, Guadagnini, all former junior world champions. Muse in the 85 category. Guadagnini just a couple of years ago in 125s. Paquetti probably the year before him, also in the 125 class. So that's normally the proving ground, isn't it? The FIM Junior World Championship sort of shows you the riders of the future. Vial has broken free from Geertz, 2.1 seconds, and he goes in search of his first race win of the 2022 season. And looking to extend that gap further as well. Meanwhile, Borgmo in third. He's 2 seconds clear of this freight train of riders that is gifting Muse, Paquetti and Guadagnini. Over the Bitchy, step up. Here's Hawkmo, F&H Kawasaki, front end a little bit higher than he probably wanted, but brings it down. Coming back towards us now, third in the race for Kevin Hawkmo. Muse still doing a great job of hanging on to that 5th place, but the rider in black, Paquetti, is getting a little bit closer, and actually Gifting is being caught here, I think, by Muse this time around. Right, just saw a puff of smoke there a moment ago, just blowing across the thing. Not sure if that's the first turn hospitality there or not, or if somebody's engine's gone bang, but I think if it was the latter we would have seen it by now. Right, Muse, 4.26. Still can't break free from Paquetti. They have dispatched, though, of Guadagnini temporarily. Borgmo's got a nice bit of breathing space, and Guadagnini is being caught in the background by Harup. Those two fighting over 7th place. Sun just starting to emerge from the clouds here, just outside of Villa Langostura. Won't really dry the track out too much though. They'll put more water down between the races. As you can see, it's a very loose dirt on top. Just need to keep that base nice and moist. Scoop tyres all the way for these riders. Right, Paquetti once again being closed up on by Guadagnini and Harup. Harup pushing the envelope behind these two. So the Big Van World MTX Kawasaki just back there in 8th place, but Gifting now under pressure. These two were all over each other at the British Championship round a week ago. They're now doing the same here in Patagonia, but it's Gifting who has the upper hand this time around on that Hitachi KTM fueled by Milwaukee. But for how much longer can he sustain this attack from Muse, who's also under pressure from Gianluca Paquetti on the Bedini KTM, don't forget there, number 22. Jago Geertz has just set the fastest first sector by a couple of tenths. He's about to hit sector 2 as well, as he goes back after Vial, but loses that advantage once again. So that gap still hovering around about 2.8 seconds. Paquetti got offline through the wave section. Missed a couple out, but obviously not easy to drop back on there. Didn't gain an advantage, so should be okay. Facchetti almost doing what he did yesterday, that wiped out Andrea Adamo. This time, though, nobody ran into the back of him. Oh, and Guadagnini does surge through this time around, though. So Guadagnini now up in the 6th place on the 101 Red Bull Gas. So 9 minutes to go. And Facchetti now under attack from Hara on the number 11 Kawasaki. And the Dane doesn't want to hang around either. Cuts to the inside. "12 laps complete." Vial is being caught by here. It's that gap 2.5 seconds now. But this battle here, Borgmo out on his own, but the 11, second rider in shot there, just off the back of Mikkel Harup. Oh, having to stretch it out. He just got pitched on the takeoff there, had to adjust the body language. Chasing Facchetti for 7. Thought about cutting back to the inside there, but Facchetti holding a nice tight line. Loses the front there, though. That'll give Harup a little bit of advantage there, and he does make full use of it. Comes into land here, Mikkel Harup. Talk to the riders, and they say the track is one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, right up there with Matterley Basin, certainly, in terms of its location and everything that it has to offer. But, you know, when you ride it, yeah, it's a fun track to ride, but the ground is very, very deceiving. You look for the grip, you think there's grip, and all of a sudden the back end or the front end loses traction. And it's very easy to do that. Guadagnini all over the back of Conrad Muse, though, so those two are going to be fighting over 5th place. Just here, these two. So a good recovery for Guadagnini. His teammate, Simon Langenfeld, is still operating in the 150 zone, so yeah, 2 or 3 seconds slower than everybody else as Harup does cut to the inside this time around. The door was left wide open by Facchetti, though. So Harup now up into 7th place. Six and a half minutes left on the clock. Can Guadagnini do anything about Conrad Muse and Isaac Gifting? Can Muse do anything about Gifting? Oh, the back end steps out as he gets on the gas, but somehow has managed to whittle that gap down next to nothing as he goes after the Swede. Comes in a little bit short there, though. Those waves, the tighter you are to the left-hand side, the closer they are together. As Muse does find his way down the inside of Gifting, who'll retaliate here in the next turn. In fact, it was Guadagnini that was closing in and made the pass stick. So Guadagnini finds his way past Muse. So not clean through the front end going there from Gifting. He's working extra hard at that front end, isn't he, on the KTM. Guadagnini losing traction. That's what I was talking about earlier. Somehow manages to get it upright on the fat part of the scoop and dig it back in. Face for LaRouche off the back of the gas of Guadagnini, right into the goggles of Conrad Muse, who's now coming under attack from Mikkel Harup. Guadagnini will do well to try and break free from these two behind him. Going to cut back to the inside here as Harup tries to get on the gas earlier. He'll try to cut back through this turn as well as he goes after Muse, who's holding a very tight line through turn 2. And he is getting alongside the Stebbins Car Superstore KTM rider, powered by Bike Short. Muse now defensive. You can tell, just worried about Harrop making a pass. And he's alongside the Brit. And he's got the shorter route through the waves as well. And Harrop now past Muse. Moves up into 6th place. Muse tries to respond, but to no avail. And suddenly, the Kawasaki going back after Guadagnini. As those two going to fight now over 5th place. Just over 3.5 minutes still to run. Vial Geerts over the line for the 15th time. That gap still hovering around about 2.5 seconds, despite Geerts being about a half a second quicker than the race leader that time around. When you look at the championship picture, Vial was 26 off of Geerts at the start of the race. So in his little battle, he'll be 23 behind. But Geerts will still lead Langenfelder by a considerable margin as Vial moves up to 3rd ahead of the down and out Kai de Wolf, who fell on lap 5. Oh, Harrop trying everything he can to get back on terms and find a way past Guadagnini, and he cuts to the inside here. He's got confidence in those tyres. He moves to the inside. The Italian takes a nervous look over his shoulder. Harrop goes the long way round this time around. Somehow he needs to get back across to the left, and he does. That's the shortest route through those waves. 3 riders all of a sudden, and Gifting makes a mistake. Guadagnini goes through into 4th. Gifting tried to go defensive there. He keeps Harrop to the outside. High intensity race this is, especially when you're in this kind of battle like these 3 riders are. Borgmo got the best seat in the house. He's away from all of this traffic at the moment. Oh, again, Gifting doing his best to keep the Dane behind him. This has been a good recovery from Harrop. He fell on that turn earlier on in the race from 5th place. He fell down to 10th, capitalised on a couple of riders falling ahead of him to get himself into 8th. But here he is now, closing back in on 4th place at the moment. And he goes down the inside, but so too does Gifting. "16 laps complete." As we look at this battle, meanwhile, Vial and Geerts now separated by 1.7 seconds. So the gap coming down between the 2 leaders. Backmarkers doing their best to stay out of the way here, letting these 3 fight over 4th, 5th and 6th place. And once again, Harrop, he's got a nice line through there to try and get alongside Gifting. He'll try to cut back to the inside here. He'll hit the brakes here, will he? No, he goes the long way round. Gifting shows him an elbow. This time he does cut to the inside. He went the long way round last time around. And he does sneak up the inside. Can he hold the advantage though? Yes, he does. All of a sudden, Harrop now into 5th place. Two-lap board will go out next time around. Can Harrop find his way onto the rear wheel and past the 101 of Guadagnini on the Red Bull Gas? He will believe he can. What was his lap time last time around? Guadagnini was a 46.6, Harrop a 47.6, but he was all over the back of Gifting at that moment in time. Here's Conrad Muse. He's now in 7th place. 2 seconds adrift of these 3 riders here. The Hitachi KTM, fueled by Milwaukee, looks to have settled now for that 6th place. Can't afford to switch off though, because Muse will pounce if given the opportunity. Back marker, and your two leaders through the wave section. Gap down to 1.4 seconds as they hit the line. And all of a sudden, a fastest sector one, a 24.8 compared to a 25.3. Jago Geerts is going back after the race leader. Fans absolutely voicing their approval as well. Can Vial hold on? Ah, Geerts cuts to the inside. Tries to get on the gas. He goes to the outside for a little bit of extra support as he goes in pursuit of the Red Bull KTM rider, but the Monster Energy Yamaha has to follow him through this section. He'll probably go tight as well through these two corners. In fact, he goes a long way round there. He's done well to bridge that 2.5 second gap from a few laps ago. Cuts back to the inside. It's lower on the right-hand side, dropping into the final turn there as well. Nothing in it as they go into the penultimate lap then. Half a second, in fact. Vial now knows he has got two big laps ahead of him here. And in this situation, sometimes they say it's easier to follow than it is to lead, because Vial won't know where the attack's coming from. At the moment, he'll be able to hear that Yamaha behind him, but will it be inside? Will it be outside? Well, Geerts goes through. Takes the Frenchman to the outside. He hits the brakes. Sees the move coming. And Geerts is alongside Vial. He will try to squeeze the Belgian to the inside. That's exactly what he does. What an end to this first MX2 race. Can he cut back to the inside? Yes or no? He goes in early, gets out even earlier. Side by side. Fans on their feet. Geerts tries to squeeze Vial, and he does. Who responds immediately? But the Belgian leads on lap 19. Great riding that from Geerts. It was decisive as well. Can he maintain the lead though from now to the finish? Well, he drifts too wide. Vial tries to respond. Back marker ahead. Geerts reads it well. He goes to that outside line again like he did a lap ago. We are entering the final lap. Chasing the dirt round the outside. Well, I tell you what, that berm did not look too stable there. Right up high. We are on the final lap. A 45.4 compared to a 46.7 for the two leaders respectively, Geerts and Vial. He has timed the run to perfection, has the Belgian. And he's pulling clear as well. How much of this is lack of riding through the off-season for Tom Vial? How much of it is just being 100% prepared by Geerts? And just having that confidence and that belief. Into the waves for the final time. Geerts leads Vial. Pulled about 7 or 8 tenths in the first sector this time around. And you can see that gap just going out even more. He pulls another 3 or 4 tenths in sector 2. I thought there was going to be a little bit of bar banging here a lap ago when the pass was made. But Geerts had just enough of an advantage to make it stick. Handful of corners left to run for the Monster Energy Yamaha man. He will extend his lead from the 4 points to 21 points over Simon Langenfelder. 2 corners to go. And Jago Geerts buries his wheels deep in that penultimate turn. He rounds out the final turn here, the 93 Monster Energy Yamaha. Geerts wins race 1, and that was emphatic. Tom Vial pipped to the line with about a lap and a half to go, as Jago Geerts times his run to absolute perfection. And the Yamaha rider finds himself winning race 1 here, his 23rd career race win. And so far, let's take a look at this again, shall we? This was in the turn where Geerts thought he'd gone through. Vial read it well, cut back to the inside, got the run back down the wave section to keep the Belgian there in second position. But then 3 corners later, coming out and over the city jump, they were very close here. It's very tight there. He had half a bike length on him, but he just committed and managed to stay ahead. And that was the pass for the lead. And this was the moment that Jago Geerts crossed the line, victorious for the 23rd time in his career. 3 wins in a row now for the Belgian. 2 in Italy, last time out. A win here. He's won both the qualifying races as well. The Belgian is on something of a roll at the moment. And just looking down the leaderboard, Conrad Muse did find his way past Isaac Gifting on the final lap. So Geerts, Vial, Guadagnini, your top 3. Harp, Horgmo, Muse, Gifting, Rubini, Facchetti and Sido. We will give you the official confirmation in a few moments' time. But for now, though, let's wait to speak to race 1 winner. Hopefully he is down there with Lisa Leyland. But what a fantastic MX2 first race. Here is our winner.
Congratulations, a perfectly timed race for you. Great move on Tom. 3rd win in a row. You are on a roll at the moment.
Yeah, I'm really happy about the race. Had a whole shot, but I went a little bit wide, so Tom went on the inside. And then, yeah, the first 10-15 minutes, I was riding a good pace, but Tom was just a little bit faster. And second half of the race, I found some better lines, and in the end, the second to last lap, I could pass him. So I'm really happy about my speed. Just need to be a little bit faster the first 10-15 minutes.
Good luck for the second race.
Jago Geerts looks very cool and composed there, doesn't he? Barely looks like he's broke a sweat or even out of breath. But the number 93 shadowed Tom Vial for much of the race. Well, in fact, the whole race, because it was Vial who was given the foxhole shot. And the 2 riders then went wheel to wheel, bar to bar. But with a lap and a half to go, it was Geerts who went on to take the win from the Frenchman. Official confirmation coming up then of that result from MX2 Race 1. And it was Jago Geerts, 2.4 seconds in the end. He was victorious over Tom Vial. Mattia Guadagnini, a fantastic 3rd for him. Much needed 3rd for him as well. Harp 4th, impressive. So too Horgmo in 5th. Muse pipping Gifting on the final lap to take 6th. Rubini was 8th, Facchetti 9 and Sido 10. Then we had Andrea Adamo, Hakan Fredriksson, Simon Langenfelder, Luciano Righi, Pablo Jeremias Pascual, Fermin Chichimara, Kaida Wolf, obviously not finishing the race, but hopefully he's okay. And hopefully we have news of that from the team, Nistan Factory Husqvarna squad, as we go into race 2. But judging by the way he was slow to get up, it would be surprising if he does line up for that second race, but fingers crossed for the Dutchman. Take a look at the highlights then, shall we, from that first MX2 race. Went a little bit like this. MX2 Race 1, charging down the inside, Tom Vial, Jago Geerts, Simon Langenfelder, and the 22 of Facchetti. Initially, it was Jago Geerts that was given the nod, but that was changed later on. Vial led going through the first few corners then. Geerts was all over the back in 2nd, the Wolf 3rd, Langenfelder in 4th place then. We had just behind them, and Adamo went out. He picked himself up to come back to 11th place. Then Harap fell from 5th place. He emerged in 10th. But he was then fortunate to pick up another couple of positions after this happened. Watch Langenfelder. He goes over the bars here, down and hard. And then ahead of him, in 3rd place, the 74 of Kaida Wolf. Horgmo was on the attack. He charged up the inside of Isaac Gifting to move into 3rd place then. And then Guadagnini shuffled past the 22. And that put him up into top 5 or 6. Then Hart found his way past the 22 to move into 7th place. Guadagnini then closed in on Muse to take over 5th. And it wasn't long before Hart also found his way past Muse. Guadagnini then capitalised on Gifting running wide. He moved up into 3rd. And then Hart also found his way past Gifting. Final 2 laps though. All eyes on the battle between Geerts and Vial. The Belgian has whittled away a 2.5 second gap to put himself into contention. He tried to squeeze Vial to the inside. He still had some work to do here, and he managed to keep it on 2 wheels as he jumped long into the turn. And it was Jago Geerts who held on by 2.5 seconds to take his third straight win of the season. Vial was 2nd, Guadagnini 3rd, Hart and Hogmo your top 5. Take a look at the Fox hole shot, shall we then? And, well, it changed hands a couple of times, just like the lead did during the race. It was very, very close, but over on the inside, probably by a Nobly or a Natsnacker. Which one do you want to choose? Tom Vial, though, picking up the Fox hole shot for the 3rd time this year. Langenfelder has the other 2 from the 5 races that we have run so far. So that was MX2 race 1. Let's take a look at some of the best moments, shall we, before we see how the first MXGP race. Cracking view there, by the way. But take a look at some of the best moments, shall we? Some of the best moments then from MX2 Race 1. Join us in just under 2 minutes' time when we return for MXGP Race 1 here, the MXGP of Patagonia, Argentina.
Por el preparado